I stopped getting compliments on my hair around 58, and it took me 2 years to admit the haircut was the reason, not my age. Nobody warns you that the very cut you've trusted for a decade can start working against you so slowly you don't notice it happening. Today I'm walking you through 3 haircuts that genuinely take years off a woman over 60, and 3 that quietly add them back on, so you know exactly what to ask for and exactly what to walk away from. I researched the worst style and beauty mistakes and the best fixes for women over 50, so you get real results, fast. If you haven't already, hit subscribe, because I cover this every single week. Part 1: The cut that rebuilds your face. Here's something almost nobody tells a woman over 60 at the salon chair, and it should be the first thing they say. Gravity doesn't just soften your jawline, it also flattens the one thing that used to give your whole face shape, which is volume at the crown. You've probably noticed your part looking wider than it used to. You've probably brushed it off as just hair thinning a little. It's not just thinning. It's the absence of the one structural element that used to lift everything above your cheekbones. And once that's gone, your whole face reads heavier and older, even if your skin hasn't changed a bit. This is where the shag comes back into the conversation, and I mean a real modern shag, not the 70s version. A soft, face-framing shag built with layers that start at the crown and get shorter as they move toward your face is the single most face-lifting cut available to you right now. Here's why it works on a mechanical level. Short layers at the crown create lift because there's less weight pulling that section down, and the longer face-framing pieces around your jaw draw the eye up and out, away from any softening along the jawline. It's an optical rebuild of your bone structure using nothing but where the scissors land. Here's exactly what to say when you sit down in the chair, because vague requests get vague results. I'd like a modern shag with shorter layers starting at the crown for lift, and longer face-framing pieces that hit right at my jawline, not blunt underneath. That single sentence tells your stylist precisely where the weight needs to come out and precisely where it needs to stay, which is the difference between walking out looking rebuilt and walking out looking like you just got a trim. I think about Marguerite, a woman in my community who'd worn the exact same one-length bob for 11 years because it felt safe. She sent me a message after her first shag appointment that just said, "I forgot my face could do that." What she meant was that for the first time in over a decade, people were making eye contact with her cheekbones instead of her jawline, because the layers had physically redirected where the light and shadow fell on her face. The snapback moment happens the second she walks out of the salon, where a blunt, heavy cut pulls the eye straight down along the jaw and settles there. A well-layered shag catches light at the crown and cheekbone first, so anyone looking at her reads lift and structure before they register anything about age at all. That's not vanity, that's just how the human eye processes a face. You're not fighting time with this cut. You're just giving the light somewhere better to land. There's a texture piece to this too that most women skip, and it matters more than the cut itself. Ask for point cutting on the ends of those face-framing layers instead of a blunt finish. Point cutting removes tiny vertical slivers from the ends rather than cutting straight across, which softens the line so it moves with your face instead of sitting like a frame around it. A blunt-edged layer, even a well-placed one, can look like it was stamped on. A point-cut edge looks like it grew there. The before and after here is specific, so let me name it exactly. Before, a one-length bob sitting at the jaw, heavy and flat at the crown, pulling every line on the face downward. After, a crown-lifted, face-framing shag with point-cut ends that redirects light upward and softens the jawline by drawing attention above it. Same woman, same bone structure, completely different read. Now the shag is powerful, but it's not the only cut doing this kind of work for women over 60. And the next one solves a completely different problem. If your hair has gotten finer rather than just flatter, what you need next isn't more layers. It's the opposite. Part 2. The fix for fine thinning hair, plus the first cut to walk away from. If your hair has genuinely thinned rather than just lost volume, more layers will actually make things look worse, not better, and almost nobody explains why. Layers work by removing weight, and weight is exactly what fine hair needs to hold together and look thick. Cut too many layers into hair that's already fine, and you end up with wispy, see-through ends that broadcast thinness instead of hiding it. This is the opposite problem from part 1, which is why the fix has to be the opposite cut. What you want here is a blunt, one-length bob at or just below the chin, with minimal internal layering, sometimes none at all. Blunt ends stack hair on top of hair, which creates the visual density that fine strands can't create on their own. Every strand supports the one next to it instead of falling away separately. It's the single most effective cut for making thin hair read as thick, full hair, and it's almost never what women with thinning hair ask for, because their instinct is to add layers for movement. Say this exactly to your stylist. I have fine hair and I want density, not movement. So please keep this blunt with minimal layering, and don't texturize the ends. That last part matters enormously. Texturizing, which is when a stylist thins the ends with thinning shears or a razor, is the #1 thing that accidentally sabotages a blunt cut on fine hair. It feels like a small request, but it's the difference between a cut that looks intentionally full and one that looks accidentally sparse. Colette came to me after years of what she called wispy ends I couldn't explain. She'd been asking for layers because every haircut photo she liked seemed to have them, without realizing her own hair type made that request backfire every single time. The first time she asked for a strict blunt line instead. She told me she ran her hand through it in the car and thought, "This is the first time in years my hair has felt like it has a bottom." That's density doing its job. Fine hair with a defined blunt ending photographs and moves like it has far more volume than it actually does. Here's the snapback result that makes this worth the ask. A blunt bob on fine hair doesn't just look fuller. It visually shortens the appearance of your face length by adding horizontal weight right at the jaw, which balances a longer face shape beautifully. So this cut is doing two jobs at once, density and face shaping, and it's doing both with almost no maintenance required beyond a good blow dry. Now for the cut you should avoid, and this one surprises people because it's marketed constantly as youthful and easy. The heavily razored, choppy pixie with thin, wispy ends throughout. I know the pixie itself isn't the enemy here. We'll actually get to a version of it that works beautifully later in this video. The problem is specifically the razored, over-thin texture that so many stylists default to, thinking choppy reads as edgy and modern. On mature hair, heavy razoring does the opposite of what you want. It removes so much weight from already finer strands that the ends look broken and uneven rather than deliberately textured, and it tends to expose more scalp at the crown than any woman over 60 wants visible under salon lighting. What was meant to look effortlessly tousled instead reads as thin and unfinished, and it's one of the most common regret cuts I hear about from this exact age group. The exact fix if you're currently living with this cut. Ask your stylist to blunt up the ends and reduce the razoring, keeping the shape but rebuilding density at the perimeter. You don't need to grow it all out and start over. You need the weight put back in. The before and after. Before, an over-razored pixie with wispy, see-through ends and visible scalp at the crown under bright light. After, that same short shape with blunted, weight-restored ends and no razoring. Reading as intentional and full rather than thin and undone. Two completely different impressions from almost the same length of hair. So we've covered one cut to embrace and one to avoid so far. What's coming next might be the one that surprises you the most, because it involves color placement, not just the cut itself, and getting it wrong is shockingly common. Part 3, where highlights actually belong, and the length nobody should keep past 60. Let's talk about something that has nothing to do with the scissors and everything to do with where the color goes, because I see this mistake constantly, and it's rarely the cut's fault at all. If you've got a great shape but you still feel like something's off or aging in photos, check where your highlights are placed before you blame the haircut. The rejuvenating placement is called face-framing balayage, and it's specifically painted in soft, graduated pieces around the front hairline and temples, brightest closest to your face and gradually blending back into your base color. This isn't the same as all-over highlights, and it's not the same as a money piece dyed too harshly against dark roots either. The whole point is graduation, soft where it meets your natural color, brightest exactly where it frames your face. Here's why this specific placement rejuvenates rather than ages. Brightness near your face reflects light upward onto your skin, the same way a reflector card works in photography. It softens shadows under the eyes and along the jaw simply by bouncing warmer, brighter tones toward your complexion. All-over highlights don't do this, because the brightness is distributed evenly instead of concentrated where your face actually needs the lift. You end up with hair that looks lighter overall, but a face that gets none of the benefit. Tell your colorist exactly this. I want face-framing balayage, graduated and softest at the back, brightest around my hairline and temples, blended so there's no harsh line where it meets my natural color. That phrase, no harsh line, is doing real work in that sentence, because a hard demarcation line between the highlighted pieces and your base color is what makes color placement look dated rather than current. Diane had been getting all over highlights for probably 15 years before she tried this instead. She told me the difference wasn't even about the color, it was that people kept telling her she looked rested, which she found funny because nothing about her sleep had changed. What had changed was that warm, bright tone sitting exactly where it could do the most work, right at the jaw and temple, lifting the whole lower half of her face optically. Now here's the length you need to walk away from, and I want to be specific rather than vague about this, because long hair ages you isn't quite true and it's not fair advice. The actual issue is one length hair past mid-back, with no layering and no face framing at all, worn consistently straight. It's not the length itself that's the problem. It's the total absence of shape at that length. When hair that long has zero layering, all of the weight pulls straight down, past your shoulders, past your collarbone, with nothing happening around your face to counteract it. Every line of that hairstyle points downward, and remember, the human eye follows line direction. Straight, heavy, downward pulling hair drags the eye down your whole silhouette instead of framing your face at all. And it can visually add both age and tiredness, even on genuinely healthy, beautiful hair. The fix isn't cutting it all off if you love the length. It's adding long, face-framing layers starting around the collarbone and softening the very ends with subtle texture, so the length stays but the downward pull around your face gets broken up. Say this. I want to keep the length, but add long face-framing layers starting at my collarbone, and soften the ends so it's not one heavy blunt line. The before and after. Before, one length hair past mid-back with a single heavy blunt line and no framing, pulling every feature downward. After, that same length with collarbone starting face-framing layers and softened ends, breaking the downward pull and bringing shape back around the face while keeping every inch of length she loves. There's one more cut on the avoid list, and it's the one I get asked about more than any other, because it's almost always well-intentioned advice gone wrong. Part 4. The pixie mistake almost everyone makes, and the one that actually works. Somewhere along the way, get a pixie, it's low maintenance became blanket advice for every woman over 60, and it's simply not true for every face and every hair type. The specific version to avoid is an overly severe, extremely short pixie, cropped tight at the sides and back with almost no length anywhere, especially when it's worn without any soft fringe or face-framing piece at all. Here's the mechanism nobody explains. When hair is cut extremely short and uniform, with nothing longer anywhere near the face, there's no soft transition between your hairline and your features. Your bone structure is left completely exposed with zero visual softening. And for most mature faces, some gentle fullness or movement near the temples and forehead is what keeps a short cut looking soft rather than severe. Strip that away entirely, and even a technically well-executed pixie can read as harsh instead of chic. If you're currently wearing this version, here's what to say at your next appointment. I'd like to keep it short, but grow out a soft fringe piece at the front and add a little length and texture at the crown, so there's some movement framing my face. You don't have to abandon short hair. You have to add exactly one soft element back into it. Rosalind wore a severely cropped pixie for almost 3 years because a stylist once told her it would be so easy. And it was easy, but she quietly admitted to me she stopped feeling like herself in photos. The moment she grew in just enough length for a soft side fringe and a little lift at the crown, she said her daughter's first comment was, "You look like you again," which is exactly what happens when that missing softness comes back into frame. Now here's the pixie that actually works beautifully on women over 60, and it's the direct opposite in feeling even though it's still short. It's a textured pixie with longer, side-swept fringe pieces and soft, piecey layers left longer through the crown, so there's visible movement and a gentle frame around the forehead and temples, while the back and sides stay neat and short. This version works because it keeps every practical benefit people love about short hair: the low maintenance, the coolness in summer, the ease of styling, while restoring exactly the softening element that the severe version strips away. The longer fringe piece does the same optical job the face-framing layers did back in part 1. It draws the eye toward movement and light near your features instead of leaving your bone structure standing there alone. Tell your stylist this. I want a textured pixie with a longer, side-swept fringe, and some length left at the crown for movement, not cropped tight and uniform all over. That's the sentence that separates a severe cut from a soft, current one. Using almost the exact same base length. The snapback result here is immediate and visible the day you walk out. A uniformly cropped pixie photographs as one flat plane of hair with harsh edges everywhere the light hits. A textured pixie with a longer fringe photographs with visible depth, movement, and shadow variation, which is exactly what reads as youthful in a photo, not the amount of hair itself, but the way light moves across it. The before and after here closes out our list perfectly. Before, a severely cropped, uniform pixie with no fringe or face framing, exposing the bone structure with no softening anywhere. After, a textured pixie with a longer side-swept fringe and soft crown layers, restoring movement and gentle framing while keeping the length short and easy. So there you have it, the 3 cuts that genuinely work in your favor after 60, and the 3 placements and shapes that quietly work against you, no matter how healthy your hair actually is underneath them. You now know exactly what separates a haircut that ages you from one that genuinely takes years off, and it was never really about your hair's health. It was about weight, placement, and where the light lands on your face. You walked in not sure why some cuts felt off, and you're walking out with the exact words to say in that salon chair. Which one surprised you the most, the fine hair fix, the balayage placement, or the pixie mistake? Tell me in the comments below. Next week I'm covering the skincare routine mistakes that make foundation sit into fine lines instead of smoothing over them, so you'll want to be here for that one. Like this video, subscribe to Timeless Wisdom Path, and I'll see you in the next one.